Robert was one of the sharpest men his daughter had ever known. He had been an engineer for 37 years. He did the crossword in pen. Then, at 67, something began to change. He forgot where he put his keys. He lost his train of thought mid-sentence. He walked into the kitchen and stood there, not sure what he had come for. His daughter Sarah told herself it was stress, normal aging. Then one evening, he called her by his late wife's name. The tests came back with a phrase she had never expected: mild cognitive impairment. She asked the neurologist what had caused it. He said, "The brain changes as we age." She drove home, sat at the kitchen table, and kept searching. Because what researchers at Stanford had just published in one of the most respected scientific journals in the world was something almost no doctor in a 10-minute appointment has time to explain. Robert's memory loss may not have started in his brain at all. Today, I am going to show you exactly where it started and what the science says you can do about it. Right now, inside your body, there is a communication system most people have never heard of. It runs from your gut all the way up to your brain. Scientists call it the gut-brain axis. It works through the longest cranial nerve in the human body, the vagus nerve. Think of the vagus nerve as a living cable. It travels from your brainstem down through your chest, past your heart and lungs, into your digestive system. It carries signals both ways, from the brain down to the gut, and from the gut back up to the brain. That upward signal directly influences your hippocampus, the part of your brain responsible for forming new memories, recognizing familiar faces, and remembering names and details. When the vagus nerve sends strong signals to the hippocampus, memory works. When something silences those signals, memory begins to fail. This is the finding of a landmark study published in Nature in March 2026 by researchers at Stanford University and the Arc Institute. I will tell you exactly what they found. But Sarah found something first, something that explains why the vagus nerve goes quiet in the first place. As we age, the gut microbiome, the community of trillions of bacteria in your digestive system, shifts. After 65, beneficial bacteria decline. Others quietly increase. You cannot feel this. Standard blood tests will not catch it. But the effect on your hippocampus is something researchers are calling one of the most underappreciated drivers of memory decline in older adults. Here is why, and this is the part that stopped Sarah when she first read it. Your gut bacteria produce a molecule called butyrate. Think of butyrate as a delivery driver, carrying a critical signal from your gut directly to your brain. That signal triggers production of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Think of BDNF as fertilizer for your neurons. It supports the formation of connections between brain cells, the process underlying every memory you make. Research confirms BDNF declines with age, and people with Alzheimer's have significantly lower BDNF than healthy people of the same age. When your gut bacteria are diverse, butyrate rises, BDNF rises, the hippocampus stays protected. When the microbiome shifts, that chain breaks. Now, scientists did not just find this chain. They found the exact bacteria that breaks it. In March 2026, a team at Stanford published that study in Nature, a detailed step-by-step map of how the gut causes memory to decline. As mice age, one specific bacterium increases in the gut, Parabacteroides goldsteini. This bacterium releases molecules that trigger inflammation in white blood cells lining the gut wall. Think of it as a chemical alarm signal, activating the wrong immune response in exactly the wrong place. That inflammation silences the vagus nerve. When the vagus nerve goes quiet, the hippocampus goes quiet with it. Memory encoding breaks down. To prove the gut was driving the decline, not the aging brain, the researchers housed young mice with old mice for 1 month. The young mice picked up the aged gut bacteria. Within weeks, they performed worse on memory tests, not because their brains had aged, because their gut bacteria had. The memory decline followed the microbiome, not the birthday. One of the lead researchers, Dr. Christoph Tass, professor of pathology at Stanford, said this: "We tend to think of memory decline as a brain-intrinsic process. But this study indicates that we can enhance memory formation and brain activity by changing the composition of the gastrointestinal tract, a kind of remote control for the brain. A remote control for the brain, sitting in your gut. That is the conclusion of a peer-reviewed study in Nature, 2026. Now, if the gut is a remote control for the brain, what happens when you change what it is sending? When researchers restored gut-brain signaling in aged mice by stimulating the vagus nerve, blocking the gut inflammation, or resetting the microbiome, the older animals performed like young animals on memory tests. Old, forgetful, then sharp again. The research team described that reversibility as, quoting directly, a surprise. They were surprised by their own results. That is what Sarah found that night. Before I tell you what she did, I want to be honest. The Stanford study was conducted in mice. Human clinical trials are ongoing. I will not claim that what worked in mice will work identically in every human body. What I can tell you is this. The gut-brain axis is real. The vagus nerve pathway is real. A comprehensive review published in June 2025, drawing on PubMed, CINAHL, and the Cochrane database, confirmed that gut microbiome imbalance is consistently associated with mild cognitive impairment and Alzheimer's disease in human studies. The science is not finished, but the direction is clear. And here are 3 things, well supported by existing evidence, that protect the gut-brain pathway. The first, feed the bacteria that produce butyrate. Their fuel is prebiotic fiber, plant fiber your gut bacteria thrive on. Best sources: garlic, onions, oats, asparagus, leeks, slightly underripe bananas, a handful of oats at breakfast, garlic at dinner, a banana in the afternoon. Every serving feeds the bacteria that produce the molecule that protects memory. Add fiber slowly. Give your gut 2 to 3 weeks to adjust. The second, eat foods that support BDNF directly. Harvard researchers found that women who ate 2 or more servings of berries per week delayed memory decline by up to 2.5 years. 2.5 years from berries. Blueberries have been shown to increase BDNF and improve memory scores. Fatty fish, salmon, mackerel, sardines support BDNF expression and brain cell integrity. Harvard links fish consumption to lower amyloid beta, the protein associated with Alzheimer's. A UCLA study linked walnuts to improved cognitive test scores. 2 servings of fatty fish per week. A daily handful of blueberries, a small portion of walnuts. Simple, consistent. The third, move every day. When you exercise, your muscles release a protein called cathepsin B. It crosses the blood-brain barrier and directly stimulates BDNF production in the hippocampus. A published meta-analysis found that combining regular exercise with a brain-supportive diet produced statistically significant improvements in cognitive function. 30 minutes of brisk walking, 5 days a week. That is what the research supports. Oats at breakfast. Blueberries in the afternoon. Salmon twice a week. A 30-minute walk with someone you love. That is not a medical protocol. That is a life. That is exactly what Sarah built for herself and her father. Sarah changed how she cooked. She walked with her father every morning, 30 minutes through the neighborhood. Sometimes they talked. Sometimes they just walked. 6 months later, Robert's follow-up showed no further cognitive decline. His neurologist said, "Whatever you are doing, keep doing it. I am not telling you these habits reverse Alzheimer's disease. The science does not support that claim, and I will not make it. What I am telling you is that the gut-brain connection is real. The foods you eat and the movement you do are influencing that pathway right now, whether you know it or not, and Stanford's research suggests this pathway is far more changeable than we ever understood. Sarah called it the best thing she never learned in school. Your body has not stopped listening. You can still change what you send it. Your brain at 65, at 70, at 80 is not a sealed machine. It is a living system, and it responds to what you give it. Please share this with someone you love who needs to hear this today. And before you go, here is what is coming next. The vagus nerve does not just carry memory signals. It regulates your heart rate, blood pressure, stress response, and the inflammation running through your body as you age. In the next video, I am going to show you something that sounds too simple. You can strengthen your vagus nerve, right now, at home, with nothing more than your breath, your voice, and cold water on your face. Each of these triggers a measurable change in vagal tone. Each has published research behind it. Subscribe and hit the bell. I will see you there. Take good care of yourself.